Welcome to the official podcast of the National Pickleball League, where we go inside the NPL. Welcome to Everything in the Kitchen Dink, the official podcast for the National Pickleball League, where we go inside the NPL. My name is Michael Hammer Mike Chen, along with my co-host Rick Witsken, Jen Bone Crusher Gallwas, and David the Professor George. Before we get started, first of all, Rick, I would like to thank you for being in Vegas for me. I became a grandfather just recently, and so you can call me Grandpa Mike now for at least for a week or two. And Rick, so thank you for taking my place at this exciting conference in Vegas. We have a special guest, by the way, today, which we're going to bring on shortly. His name is Dayne Gingrich. You guys probably all know who Dayne Gingrich is. He's wrote an exciting book called Pickleball Mindset. He has a blog that he talks about the mental game all the time, and we're just delighted that we're going to have a chance to ask him questions about his experience in the first weekend in Chicago on the NPL Coachella Valley team, but also about a really exciting game on center court that he played against Seattle United Pickleball team, as well as we'll talk about his book. So, Rick, Jen, David, are you guys excited? Because I want to bring him on. I don't want for us to chit chat for 15 minutes, but I think we want to bring him on pretty quickly. What do you guys think, huh?
I mean, I've never been more excited. First of all, congrats, Michael. I mean, I called you Grandpa before based on your attitude, but now it's literally true. So that's pretty cool. And I mean, I've had some kind of social media discussions about some of the more academic or philosophical views towards mindset, goal setting. And so I've never been more excited. So I cannot wait to talk to him.
Great. Jen, are you ready?
You're excited. Wasn't your dissertation on stoicism, or something like that? I'm ready.
Dude, a couple of these quotes are right out of my dissertation. So I cannot wait.
Which none of us will probably ever read.
Yeah, that's great.
But look, you've got tabs and notes. I haven't got notes from him.
Yeah.
I just assumed you wouldn't read it, so I had to help you out a little bit.
And Rick, I know you played with him and against him. So you're always going to have questions. Whether or not it's about the book, I know you're going to have some really insightful questions to ask him about his experience on the court.
Well, if he asks me, I might even write some additional chapters because I know things that nobody else knows. But most importantly right now, Michael, for you and your family and your lovely wife to have a grandbaby, that's super special. And I have no problem being here in your shoes and enjoy every moment because, God gives us the birth of life and children and grandchildren. Nothing's more special than that. And Dayne knows that too because he's got an awesome daughter. So anyway, God bless you and congrats. And I look forward to chatting with Dayne.
Well, thank you. By the way, what sport other than pickleball can you be a pro and be also a grandparent, huh?
Grandpa Hammer.
That's right. The NPL, the pros for pickleball players over the age of 50. We're blessed to play in the NPL zone, and I'm excited. So without further ado, look, I'm just excited to talk to Dayne. So let's bring Dayne on.
Yay.
Yeah. So here on our podcast,
there we go.
I just want to introduce Dayne Gingrich. Welcome, Dayne.
Woo!
So happy to be here. Thanks. Rick is scaring me, if I'm being honest. He's got a little he's gonna set something up. I can already tell he's you can feel the tone. He doesn't want to tell you what he's gonna talk about, but he's coming. He's coming.
Yeah.
Feel it. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I do.
Dayne, you're in the background is a pickleball court. Are you on the pickleball court 24/7? Like even in an interview, you've got a pickleball court. Is that how you get so good?
It feels like it, right? I'm on the court quite a bit, either teaching or training or drilling or doing the things. It feels like I'm out here all day, every day. I mean, this is kind of I would rather be here and taking phone calls and doing this than at home in an office or, inside. We can't beat this. Like you were saying about NPL being the only pros that can have grandkids. We're out here doing a podcast and I'm on a freaking court. Are you kidding me right now?
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
That's so awesome. Well, first of all, we were so excited that you joined the National Pickleball League this year and you got drafted by Coachella Valley. Surprise, surprise, the Coachella Valley Scorpions. Your
He was
backyard.
nervous. He was nervous.
He was nervous. I think Kim Jade was very nervous that, she wasn't going to get her drafted, but she got a very, very high draft pick. So she was fortunate to be able to draft you. But tell us about your experience the first week. I'm sure you heard a lot about the National Pickleball League last year, and you joined this year. What was your experience like playing in their first weekend in Chicago in the National Pickleball League?
I mean, it was absolutely amazing. So, you're right. Like, Kim, but the entire ownership group, right? Ryan, GM, our whole team, it's been kind of like mind-boggling. And I know I told you after one of our matches, we'll talk about later, when I saw you after the match, I said, it was so exciting. I literally said, I'm not playing any more tournaments. I'm only doing NPL. I had never experienced that type of energy before. And we've been on center court at National, center court at US Open, and I had never felt we were playing for, if we win the match. If we lose, we go into the tiebreak, the super tie. And so everybody was around. I hadn't experienced that since, way back with tennis. Right. So there was not, I think it's amazing. And I don't know, there's something about everybody supporting, and not just team wise, everybody's supporting everybody. We're trying to beat each other, but then we're also everybody's kind of nice. I'm used to playing with Rick. He's just not a very nice person. I'm just kidding. But everybody was so super cool, whether you were opponents or your own teammates. It was an amazing experience.
Well, tell me a little bit about your team. I mean, your team went 3-1, right? In the four-match series. There were two teams that went undefeated, Houston Hammers and Columbus Hotshot, that went 4-0. You guys were right up there. You guys went 3-1. And I looked at your roster. I mean, you got a really talented roster there. You're going to be right up there the whole season, vying for the championship. But did you know everyone on your team? And what are your thoughts about your roster that you have?
I really like our roster. Number one, everybody is just a really solid human being. Number one, first and foremost, I think that's most important. And as they were being drafted, it was so much about character over paddle skill, right? Obviously you got to be a certain level to play, but if the character's off, then it's just going to ruin the team, right? One poison apple poisons the whole thing, as we know, right? So first and foremost, amazing. But I look at the team, and I told Kim and Ryan immediately. I said, I'm not sure, because I hadn't seen any other teams, and I'm a rookie here, right? So I don't know how deep, but I was I think our team's deep. I think the 2 and 3 line is going to be so interchangeable, right? Because I can't move from 1 to 2. Lily can't move from 1 to 2, but the 2 and 3 can cut. And I'm that's going to be really interesting, because it was my gut, not playing last year, that I had a feeling the line 2 and 3 are going to make a huge difference as far as results, right? Line 1, we're going to be Rick and I against me against Weinbach, me against Rick. It's just going to be a flip of a coin. We know each other so well. But the 2 and 3s, they don't know each other as well. And I think that's where a lot of the strategy is going to come in with the lineups and whatnot. And they did play really well. I'm really excited for the team, not just wins and losses. Like I told you, the experience and the energy was something I had never experienced before.
Tell me about a few people that surprised you on your team that you thought they may have been good, but they even exceeded your expectations, how good they are, both on the playing level, as a partner, just people that surprise you on the upside.
So the first person to come, right away, because I played with him the entire time, was Johan. He is, and I told, I said he's top 10 right now. People know him. People know him, but didn't really give a lot of respect. But he's the perfect right side player. He's definitely one of the top 2 to 3 right side players we have in the senior pro game now, not next year. Now that blew my mind that we immediately clicked, right? And he knows his role. I know my role. And we kind of that blew my mind. I give him MVP. He won so many matches, and he came off won the last match for us in the last match where we didn't have to continue. Thank God my knees didn't like that. But I don't know, I don't want to single anybody. I know because I played with him and I experienced his vibe and his energy, but I didn't know enough about the other players to say I'm surprised or not surprised. I am extremely excited because they're all coachable, they're all hungry, they're all driven, they're all wanting to learn, and there's no ego involved. So I'm excited about everybody.
No, that's great. Well, I know Kim Jade has done her homework. You've seen her big binder she has,
Yes.
and the reports and
Yes.
reviews of all the players and what their strengths and weaknesses are, and their
Yeah.
personality traits, and where they
It
eat
was
dinner on
crazy.
Friday nights. It's like it's kind of scary. Like,
It was crazy. It was impressive. And she really did she got the players that she wanted to get. She and Ryan, we got to give Ryan huge credit to UCLA. Like,
Yeah.
they're both coaches, they're both scouts, they know how to do all of that. And they kind of hit it. So we'll see. Like, it's not really like if you win the championship, awesome, but it's more about like competing and watching everybody kind of come up, all the up and comers, because there's way more players that are like trying to get there and play regularly and be on the podium than there are already players there.
Yeah.
That to me,
yeah.
that to me, and I've only told Kim and the team, I guess I'll tell you why the hell not. That was like such a deciding factor for me, like to really want to come and help all of these amazing players. I'm like, how many players did you show up at the combines? It's just, even locally here, people are going to the combines and talking about the combines and excited about trying to make line 2 and 3. And that excited me actually more than the playing. The playing with Johan blew my mind, and with Kim, and I got to play with Stacy a match. Like, that's awesome. But like seeing the new players come up, that to me kind of gave me the chills a little bit in real time last, a couple weeks ago.
Well, you know what's interesting? They said they loved playing NPL, one, because they love the team environment. They miss the team environment part of the game and rooting each other on. They love the community. We have like a party Friday night and being part of a community the whole weekend, not just with their team, but with 200 other pros that play the game and take it seriously as do. But the third thing they said that I think is not is a little bit underrated is they get coaching from people like you and other top pros like Rick, and that they wouldn't get in a tournament, right? You guys are playing with against other top pros. They don't get a chance to get the coaching. So it's almost like they get this incredible experience of coaching, not only just like how do you hit a shot, but how do you play with your partner? How do you think about this point? How do you assess your opponents? They've said to me that's one of the most invaluable experiences of playing NPL. And I just want to get your thoughts. You probably don't get a chance to do that, the real live coaching at this high level of these players in-game strategy. Is that a part you enjoy as much as you enjoy playing?
I love it. And, I've coached some pros, right? Some top level pros, but I've got to tell you, these players on the NPL, they are so hungry. Like, they're so willing to do what? What do you want me to do? You want me to try this? Hit your wrist? What? Like, you want to go here? Like, what? Like, they were all like, there wasn't any pushback. There wasn't any, no, I'm good. Like, I got you. Like, you're good. Like, I don't need you on timeouts, right? Every timeout. But before I realized we could only coach on timeout. Sorry about that first match. I'm like, I didn't realize I thought it was another format. I got in trouble by Rich Lopez. Was like, hey, I'm like, oh, my bad. I forgot. But
I got to experience firsthand on the other side because I was playing a mixed match late on Sunday against Coachella. We won the first one. You came over and talked to them. And I don't know what you said, but we lost the next 2. So we had a great mixed match.
Right. I said, don't miss any balls. That's the coaching. Stop missing.
That's brilliant.
Stop missing.
Well, you said something important. You said a coaching tip not to hit to Rick's whatever. Between just us, I won't tell anyone. What's the weakness about Rick? Because when I play with Rick, what is the weakness? Where should I?
What's his weak link? We're not on his team.
What's his weak link? Yeah,
I can only beat Rick if I cheat, so I need some help. So
yeah, we need some help. What's the secret? Just among us 4 or 5 people here.
High forehands. He doesn't like high forehands. hit him.
I don't
hit him
believe
high,
that. I don't believe
overheads.
that.
High overheads. No, Rick.
I'm not going to try that.
Yeah, no. Rick is
not the recipe for success, but I won't get a chance to talk. I'm going to go ahead and talk right now. Thank you for believing in our league, and I can tell you that as one of the top, you're in the top 15 senior pro men, I think, Dayne. So congratulations on that. And
thank you.
I can tell you that playing in a team atmosphere where you don't get to choose your partner, there has been some discussions of maybe not top players that they wonder if top senior pros can adjust to this team format. And I just have to give you a lot of credit because, you and Weinbach, obviously Sherry Corder, Chris Hennings, nobody knew how you guys would cultivate this team atmosphere where you don't get to choose your partner and how you adjust to that. And obviously, it's only been 1 week, but you seem like the consummate team player. You seem like the consummate coach. You play with anybody, and that's not easy to play all those roles. Year one was very physically and mentally exhausting for me, but I just want to compliment you because you seem like you're really taking this high level professionalism, and you've increased the stature of our league by playing in it. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate that. I'm not used to getting compliments from you. When we're on the court, all you do is criticize me. It's all you like. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Can't believe you missed another shot, Gingrich. Just kidding. Well, just kidding.
I haven't read your book, but I don't know if you've heard of a compliment sandwich. But I do have something to be slightly critical of you, and that was that you lied to me. And you lied to me in California because we just lost the winners bracket, and we were getting ready to play bronze, where it was a come around. And quite frankly, I wasn't super excited to be in California. You know the time difference, and I was ready to get home. And you told me that our opponents had told you that they were going to beat us to go play for the gold. And that pissed me off. And if you remember, I think it was Andrew Mills, and I think that was probably one of my better matches that I played. And then we went on to win the gold. So I guess, please don't lie to me, but congratulations for being the mental guru, for getting my head in the right headspace to help me perform at the highest level.
So there it is. I mean, so that's it, right? I know you so well. You play so much better when you're pissed. You play so much better. I remember you and I were playing Tao and Mircea, and I think they beat us, or they were about to beat us in the first game. And Tao said all day after you missed a dink, and then that was it. You never missed a dink again. You stared him down every single time, pumped your fist at him every single time. So I just thought, if I could tell you that Mills, and I think it was Booth, right? If I could tell you that those dudes were talking trash about you, I had a feeling that you would fire up. We needed you to fire up, and you did, and we rolled. You're welcome.
Yeah. Well, you were right. I was really not vibing until you told me that. One other thing is that I haven't read your book, and I absolutely will. I think you're brilliant on the mental game. But my question to you is, when you're playing in this team function, do you feel like you can compartmentalize being a player, being a leader and the top player, and kind of being a coach? Or do you feel like you kind of get your head in multiple directions when you're on the court?
That's a really good question. So I think it's two-part. Number one, I know that I have to be zoned in for the match, right? Because I can't be all over the place. So I try to be zoned in for the match, just like you and I would be playing any other tournament. It's you and I, but at the same time, I know that there's the team behind us. I know that I have to stay in line mentally, verbally. There is still that awareness that eyeballs from the team are on us, right? Because we are, maybe some of the better players on the team. I think what we do is way more important than what we say, right? So we talk to the team about what it's going to be and how, the expectations and my leadership. And nobody knows me, right? They think they know me. That I believe I'm a little misunderstood. So I wanted to let them know, I wanted to let them know that, as a coach, I got you, right? We win and lose together. There's no one better, no one worse. So, but those are just words, right? So when I'm playing, I'm super hyper aware of my actions, right? Because if I say something and I'm but then on the court, I'm rolling eyes, or I'm giving slumps, or I'm getting pissed at partners or whatever, then I lose, then you just lose it all, right? And so yes, both. Compartmentalize, but same time, be really aware. I think that's really, really important. And I think for me, I don't know about for you, Rick, but for me, playing is like a 1B for me. The 1A is, again, being a coach, being a leader, being a role model, and helping these players move up, because we all I need them, they need us, I need you, you need me, we need each other, right? So for me, that's priority with NPL. That's priority over winning and losing at line, whatever, right?
Well, and we all have the ability to change a match on a dime with our intellect for the game. Jen was right, though. Dayne, if you coach against Indies players and I'm not there, then I feel like you are totally one up in that match, even though it's 0-0. So I don't want you to out coach me. I don't want you to be communicating more with your players than my players. So it is absolutely an interesting dynamic. The last question I have for you, and this is related to David George, because I'm still having a hard time getting over this. Dayne, you don't know this, but I played a really tight 3-game match against David and Ipsice, and I was playing with a sub that wasn't a drafted player, and I like him a lot, but they really weren't hitting me the ball much. And then somehow at 9-all, they somehow got 3 different servers to edge us out, and I actually gave it to them, and they gave them another call, and then they celebrate like they won Wimbledon. How do you deal with that? If you have to play with a sub and lose to David George and Ipsice, how would you deal with that?
Do you really want me to answer that question? That's a setup question.
Oh, I want you to answer that question.
You want me to answer it or you answer it?
Our viewers want to know.
I think I give him a big hug and I give him a kiss on the cheek. And I say, man, you're just a better player than I am. That's what I would say. I just think you are a better player than I am. I got drafted too high. I acknowledge that. I shouldn't have lost that match. Great job. That's what I would say. I would just give him all the credit.
That's exactly what happened, right?
That's right. That's right. Exactly.
To be honest, that was is not too far off, because if that would have happened to me, the ref would have caught a technical on me and would have dragged me out.
No.
And the fact that Rick had everything against him and still acted like a class person that he is, I was actually impressed with that. So I actually had more respect for him after that match, losing in that manner, than even before, which was already pretty high.
That's
so nice today.
I know. Well, that's what the NPL is about.
Geez. Rick, the two Indiana boys are so nice to each other.
Well, that's what the NPL is about, right? We battle hard, we beat each other's brains out on the court, and then we give each other a hug afterwards. Because at the end of the day, this is not our career living, right? You're not going to make a lot of money playing for the NPL, at least not today. Where's your livelihood? This is something that we're fortunate enough to be able to do and enjoy and play at this high level on the side. So, but I want to go back, Dayne, to one match that you played. It was center court Saturday afternoon. You were playing obviously the #1 pod against Stefan Andren and Cara Beth Lee from Seattle, United Pickleball Club, and your partner was Kim Jae. And you guys were up 6-3 in the overall team match. You only had to clinch one more match. If you wanted to have been 7-3 and you had clinched the match. And the first game you played, I went back and watched the whole thing today, by the way. I was there and watched like the second half of game 2 and all of game 3. But going back and watching again, I was able to see a lot of the things that I kind of missed when you're watching the game action live. And you lost the first game 11-6. All right. And as you're losing the first game 11-6, the broadcast booth is saying now it's 6-4, right? So it's getting closer. You guys are only about 6-4, and you have to win one. And all of a sudden, there's another tight match going on the other court. And then you're down 9-2 in the second game. So you're down 11-6, you're down 9-2. And I remember when you were down 9-2 when I was watching, okay, the game's probably over. This is shocking that, Dayne and Kim's going to lose 11-6, maybe 11-2. And I went back and watched it today, and your mannerism wasn't a defeated mannerism when you're down 9-2. You were laughing, you were joking, you were relaxed. But then your game changed at 9-2. It was very interesting. Your demeanor didn't change, but your game changed. You kind of, one of the things that we'll talk about the book later that you wrote in Pickleball Mindset, I remember you call composure under pressure.
Yeah.
You're totally composed. This is your first match in the NPL on center court. Everyone was watching. And you're down 9-2. And I'm like, holy cow. Everyone's going to say Dayne lost like 11-6, 11-2. And you kind of just took over at down 9-2 in the second game. You started being much more aggressive. You started making motions and making them guess where you are. All of a sudden, you put a lot of pressure on both Stefan and Cara Beth, right? And they're great players. And the score went from 9-2 to 11-9. Amazing that you guys came back and won the second game, 11-9. In the meantime, your other team lost 11-9 in the third game on the other court. So now it's 6-5. So now it's coming down to your game, whether you win or it goes to an NPL team breaker, which I was actually saying, it'd be great to go to an NPL team breaker. This is exciting, right? And I'm sure you guys in Coachella Valley wasn't rooting for that. You were rooting for the win. And you go up 6-1 in the third game, which I'm like, okay, now Dayne and Kim are going to roll. They won 11-9, coming back from 9-2, and now they win 6-1. But you know what great players do? Stefan, I got to give Stefan and Cara Beth Lee. There was no quit in them either. They go from being down 6-1 third set, being really after a tough loss in game 2, and they roll off 8 straight points. And they're up 9-6. Like, holy cow, this is crazy. And everyone's watching. And again, at 9-6, you weren't like, oh my goodness, this we could have won, but we lost. And all of a sudden, again, you kind of took over. That's all I can say. You took over. You were all over the court, but you weren't all over the court in a frenzy, in a craze. Like Kim knew what you were doing. You were playing in harmony, Kim. You were taking over a lot of the court, but you were in sync with her. And she was pretending to Ernie a couple shots, which got them off balance, and you were covering. And you guys won 11-9. It was one of the greatest matches that I've watched on YouTube in that pressure situation. And your composure under pressure, and the fact that the other thing you talk about in your book is having extreme confidence, right? You use the words, to have unconditional confidence.
Unconditional confidence.
Yeah. Unconditional. Yeah, you remember it, but I didn't. Can you talk about those two things, composure under pressure and unconditional confidence, and how you walked the walk in that big match on center court?
That was the match where I told you I'm never playing another tournament again, right? Like I'm just playing NPL. Can we just do center court down, up 6-5? Like I just love those. I just love those moments. So I think, it's the first match on center court, NPL. Everybody's watching. Like we knew we were up 6-1 and we made the turn, and we knew as they were making a run, we knew where we stood. I knew our team lost, and then everybody surrounded us while they were making a run. So we knew. But I think that the unconditional confidence doesn't happen on the court in that moment. The unconditional confidence is like, that's why I'm out here. Like it comes here before the matches, before you even go on an airplane, before you step on the airplane. The unconditional confidence comes because I know I'm prepared, right? And then simultaneously with Kim, it was our first match. We had never played together. We were just kind of getting used to each other. It was our second match. But we had never played on center court in a big moment when, because Stefan can play big too, right? Yeah. And, they weren't making any errors, right? She burned me down the line a couple of times, kind of held me home a little bit. And so we were kind of getting in the vibe, and then we started to click. And I got to say, I'm going to give credit where all credit's due. I told Kim immediately, like when we were losing, I was getting negative. Like I wasn't like eye rolling her, and I wasn't, but I wasn't like loving on her like she needed to be loved on. And I was reminded by Jill Martin, who was watching the match, who was my trainer, and she's somebody that watches me all the time, and she knows my game, and she knows, and she's on a timeout, she said, look, dude, like, and co-author of our book, of course, right? And she said, she's a volleyball player. We were down 2-9. She said, she's a volleyball player. And I said, what do you mean? She's like, you have to love on her. Like she's used to like between every single point, you got to love on her and love on her and love on her. And I went, oh my gosh, of course. Like, and I felt negative moving. And if she wouldn't have said that, we would have lost. I'm telling you, right? Like wow. I give all credit to her first and then Kim second, because I went over, we were down 9-2. Jill reminded me like who my partner was and what her triggers are. And I went and I gave Kim a huge hug and I smiled at her, and she's like, and she literally smiled and said, wow, I needed that. And I just went, oh my, like that. And then she hit an amazing counter winner. And I said, that's the ball we're going to remember when we make our run and we make a comeback. And she just lit up. Right. And so it wasn't just me taking over. I think you see it on video, and I do love mixed. And I believe I have some mixed strategies that I'm not telling anybody about, not you, Rick. And so I believe in my ability to play strong mixed, but listen, like you're only like you win and lose as a team. So it was my fault. I took it all on my back. The reason we got down, it wasn't Kim, it was me. I was negative. I wasn't doing my job emotionally. And I was reminded. And when she smiled and lit up like that, I thought we have a chance now. And then it was just slowly, it was just a slow grind. It was never like, we're going to come back and win. It was never that way. It was just like, let's compete in between every point. High five. Let's compete. Let's just compete. And all of a sudden we won game 2. And then when we won game 2, in my mind, we're winning this match. Like the match is over in my mind. And then we got up 6-1 and then they made a run. And it's just, then you're just then that unconditional confidence and the composure comes from, instead of thinking about everybody watching you and what happens if you lose and what happens if this, you just play, you just compete in the one point. And I just kept coming to her and I said, this is why we play. I love this. And she's smiling and I'm smiling. And I just say, like 1 point, just this 1 point. Physically, I might have been like reaching big, but she was doing an incredible job doing what she was supposed to do to allow me to do what I wanted to do, right? So it wasn't me, it wasn't just her. She was also composed, and she rose up. Like, it doesn't matter what I do, right? It doesn't matter what Ben Johns does. If Ben Johns and plays with me, we're going to lose to all the top. It doesn't matter, like, one guy on the court, right? So she really did her job. She rose up mentally and emotionally that allowed us to eventually get lucky and get really fortunate and win that match. But the composure comes from, it's not something like it's like literally loving the moment that you're in with everybody watching. Loving the moment, not loving the opportunity to win, loving the opportunity to compete. And I think that's just, we kept reminding each other of, this is why we play this. I would rather be on center than on court 103. I want to be on center in front of all of these people because we love this moment. And that, to me, is what the composure piece is. And then the unconditional confidence just comes from what you do before you step on the court.
You know, what was two things you said out of that. One is you high-fived her after every point. And I was watching, like I said, on the YouTube. And you high-fived her after she made a bad shot even. It wasn't even just high-fiving her. She made a great shot. You were giving her a tap on the paddle after every single point to say, okay, and, made a bad shot. That's okay. We'll get the next one, right? I don't think enough people do that. And the second thing I learned from you just said is, even you, who are one of the greatest coaches in pickleball, needs a coach, right? You write this book about not having a bad attitude, and you were falling into that. You needed Jill Martin to remind you. So tells you no matter how great a pickleball player you are, you still need someone to coach you, right?
100%.
And that was very interesting that you said that 100%. She helped you win the match.
Well, and Jill is so right. I come from volleyball as well. We have a big volleyball family. And a girl misses a serve, all 5 girls. No worry. And it's short-term memory. We forgot already about that misser. And it is. It just reset every time. It's a big volleyball thing. It should be used in more sports because it's like, and the girls are just smiling as big at the other player, their teammate, when they miss as when they get a major block. So it's good to be reminded of all those things. It's so easy to get frustrated and you're worried you're letting your team down. Oh my gosh, I just hope they miss a serve. So you're playing afraid to lose instead of just playing the ball and enjoying to compete. So not playing outcomes, you talk about that a lot in your book. And just we all play pickleball because it's fun. Like, we don't want to take the fun out of pickleball and competing, but we do get, everyone wants to win and we're all competitors, but those are just good things to always kind of take a second. We're doing this for fun.
Right.
It's okay. Let's play the next one.
Right. And I think a lot, like, listen, men and women are different. Period. Like, the end. We're different. When Rick and I played, or when Dave and I played, or Mircha, or whatever, like, we're different in the way that we compete, right? And some of us are a little bit more intense than others, but like, I don't smile a lot when I'm playing men's doubles. Like, we're like, let's go. Like, there's an intensity about it. But like, she needed to see the smile. She needed to smile. And so you always gotta, you just, like, mixed is just a different animal. It's so simple and so complex simultaneously, right? There's so much emotional, physical, mental. There's so many of those dynamics happening at the same time and trying to figure out that puzzle, right? We talk about the puzzle. That was just the puzzle. And Jill, when I'm there and she's my coach. The end. When I'm at events and she's there, she is my coach because she can see things that I can't see. She knows me better than, any player that I've played with, right? That only my wife knows me better. She knows me better than anybody, right? Like, so I need that. And she won us the match. Kim won us the match. And I was just there to finish a couple forehands.
Hey,
Dave has written. I just got one more question, and then Dave has got all this notes about the book he wants to ask. So I have to have David have it. But my last question on this, just on your point, is you talk about how you figure out how to play with Rick, which might be different how you play with Kim Jade, right? And in your book, and that's what you say, find and be a great partner. So what you're talking about really is to adapt yourself and your game and your attitude to fit your partner, so you guys can be like in lockstep, right? It's not about this is the way I am, this is the way I'm all a partner, and it's perfect. It's not like I'm just going to do to my partner what I want to be done to me, right? Because they're different, like you said, whether it's mixed or age or just different people. The way Rick wants to be treated might be different than the way I want to be treated, right? And so it's very interesting that you even use that mindset and says, okay. And Jill helped you, right? Jill Martin helped co-author the book. Also reminded you that Kim's a volleyball, treat her differently. This is the way she wants to be treated, right? Is that a big thing to learn from the as a partner, to learn to understand your partner, how they want to be treated?
I think it's I think if you don't do that, like I think too many of us, we look at these matches through our own lenses. And I think the better players, or if you want to be a leader or you want to be the player that is a model or role model, you have to do the opposite. You got to look through your partner's lenses, through your opponent's lenses. Your lenses are last. What do you want? Like, I play a ton of mixed doubles with Jen Dawson. Hey, Jen, what do you want? Like, not like Jen, I'll say, Jen, return to this player, but what side do you want? What side do you want to play? Like, we'll do what you want to do, right? Like, I think you need to be confident enough and secure enough as the leader, or as, the model, where because if Kim's not comfortable, we lose. It's the end. Like, if Jen's not comfortable, we lose, right? And Rick knows we've had insane battles against him and Beth, right? We're going back and forth. Beth and Jen, like, Rick and I are just there to like clean stuff up. Beth and Jen are beating the crap out of it. They win the matches, period. Right? Like, it's true, Rick. Sorry. They win the matches. We're there to clean some stuff up and talk a little trash to each other, right? And and I just think that's really important to understand.
And I'm jealous of you, Dayne. Kim Jade was on my team, and I know David's gonna earmark this on the whole podcast today. But we were the champions, the Indy drivers last year, and Kim Jade was a huge part of that. Had an incredible winning record. So I will say that she clearly wanted you. I'm glad she got you. She's an incredible asset to the league as a player and an owner. And, and also just like Pete Aldrich and what he's done in pro tennis is unbelievable. Number one in the world when he played Todd Witsken and Jorge Lozano. You're on an incredible team. Super proud of that. David, you're proud of me for not bringing up the fact we were champions last year. But I can't wait for Coachella to play Indy, Dayne, and I'm going to grunt just like you because I'm good at imitating your grunt. You know that.
Dude, like, how many times are we going to sit at the kitchen and I grunt once and you grunt 45 times? I mean, it's just ridiculous.
And I'm going to remember that volleyball because I'm lucky I get to partner with Kim at Newport.
Oh,
we're going to
perfect.
play together. So I'm going to remember the volleyball.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Let's get
Rick,
to
I'm
Dayne,
very
the
proud
professor.
of you. Like, this is like 35, 40 minutes in. This is a new record for you. Usually, like, my name is Rick Witsken of the world champion India driver. So I'm glad you waited so long.
Come on, at least 2 or 3 minutes.
David, you're the professor. You read the whole book of the pickleball mindset. You've got to have some great questions for Dayne out of the book. Let's turn it to you, David.
No, I mean, I could go on forever. I really appreciate this book. I follow all your stuff before, and you've even added more stuff to it. This is kind of right up my alley. I do ancient philosophy, but in my contemporary research is positive psychology. It's so much of it is transferable. I think I said before, we agree like 99% of the time and things like that. I guess I would just start, like, the title of the book is called Pickleball Mindset. So the 30-second, the 60-second, how do you define mindset?
Woo, that's crazy question.
I knew it was going to go there.
Wow. Like that, I don't know that I've actually ever thought about how I've defined mindset. I think it's something, wow, that's a hell of a question. You could ask me this. You could ask me to prep for that question. I write my dissertation.
I keep some stuff behind because all my other questions kind of perceive from that, right? Like, do we start with the mindset, whatever that is? Does it work in conjunction with the physical and mental skills? Because when you talk about mental skills, it's actually slightly different from mindset. Some people think those are synonymous, but I think the way you're defining it is slightly different.
Well, I think mindset is first, like, how we show up, right? I think, and I'm thinking about this on the fly, right? Like, how we show up is mindset. Mental performance skills are the micro details in which we train, right? And then the physical comes after. And I've always said that, like, I don't believe in like the muscle memory as it pertains, like the definition, the exact definition. I think people believe that they can go out and just train, and their muscles just freaking memorize stuff. Like, how we train, the intention behind it, the targets, the reasons why, that's all mindset. That's all mental performance. And then the muscles, by repping of those balls, the muscles learn, right? But without how we show up today on the court, I was drilling and teaching and coach, like how I show up to these drill sessions. Then within the drill session, you're feeling stress, you're feeling the nerves, then the mental performance skills come into play, right? Then we hit, then we make our contact. But those things happen before every contact. And it's a hundredth of a second, right? But they're not simultaneous. It's the mindset, it's the mental performance. And then The thing is, though, when we're watching on YouTube or you video it, right, you don't see mindset. You don't see mental performance. You see physicality, right? Everything is physical. You see, oh, he missed because his left foot. He missed because of his wrist angle. He missed because of his swing path. No, he didn't. He missed because he was scared. He missed because he was trying not to lose. He missed because people were watching and he was trying not to be embarrassed. Like, those are the reasons that we fall. Once you get to a certain level, like, you don't forget how to play. You don't forget how to dink, right? Something else kills your dink. And so the puzzle to figure that out. Why did your dink disappear at 9-9 when you were fine at 3-3, right? That is like infinitely fascinating to me. And the answer is going to be different with you and Rick and everybody right on the planet. The answer is going to be different. So I think mindset is like, how do I show up today?
That's so important. I was just going to ask you another question, but you miss a shot and immediately you say, oh, I didn't bend my knees. But you said, well, you've bent your knees every other time. The real question is, why didn't you bend the knees at this moment when the pressure was on?
Right. And then I would say, don't ever say you didn't bend your knees. I would say, like, never, ever, ever, ever talk to yourself that way, ever.
Right.
It's like the knees should never be focused on. They should be focused on because usually you miss because of some emotional thing, some fear thing. I'm too aggressive. Or I didn't have an intention. I didn't have a why. I'm hitting to Rick's this because he doesn't like this. And this guy's going to set up this, right? It's not like, once you start focusing intentionally and like consciously on bending your knees, you're done. Like, you're lost. Then, and this is from Inner Game of Tennis, right? This is like, that is a huge part of my foundation when I was 19 and 20 and found that book and read that book and studied it, right? This is not rocket science where I'm coming up. Like, it's my own flavor, but like ego one, like self one, self, like, you can't be consciously focused on a mechanic and be free mentally with your visual and your feel part of your brain. You can't. So, but again, when players are being taught or they're watching or they're studying, they instinctively go to, I'm going to make and I'm going to miss, I'm going to win, I'm going to lose because of what I do with my physicality. And that is just, you just couldn't be further from the truth. That doesn't mean we don't work on physicality. Of course we do, but there's a way to align them and integrate them to maximize the physicality. And that's the puzzle.
Is the book mainly based on your just experience over the years? You mentioned Tim Gallway's book. Did you do any other research? Do you know, whether it's in sports performance or sports psychology or positive psychology, do you read any of those in your research?
So people don't like when I say this. I hate reading. Like, if I was to go to school right now, I would have some kind of process issue. I would have some type of learning disability because when I read, I don't get it. I just don't get it. I have read and I did read. Obviously, we didn't have the internet when I was 18, 19, right? So I was forced to read. But yes, like, I have a foundation. The inner game, and then Brad Gilbert's Winning Ugly, that was awesome for like, because his physical skill was like, but his mental and emotional and his prep work was top notch, right? And so, yes, I have foundation, but so much of it for me, and I chose not to go to school to get a sports psychology degree on purpose. So much of it for me is, first off, I have a gift. I just think I get certain things. I think everybody has their stuff. Everybody has their gifts and people can play piano. I've just always been aligned somehow with the mental performance piece. My dad helped me. We talked about it a lot, but I just get stuff. And then it's about trial and error for 50 years. It's just, I think this, I work this, I study, I read, I listen to audiobooks, and then it just comes into my own language, right? I had to actually shut some mentors down and not talk to them and listen to them because I was becoming them. So for 2 to 3 years, I had to shut everybody out, just get in my own lane and find my own voice for the vision and the puzzle that I was trying to figure out.
That's
so exciting. I got one huge question because I always say I agree like 99%. So I wonder if this is where we might disagree, or maybe we don't disagree, right? So this is a macro question about goals.
You're wrong.
Okay?
You're wrong. You're wrong.
I really appreciate the de-emphasis on the outcome goals. The whole point of that first chapter, Stop Chasing the Win, is to focus on the process and not result, and even more so on the purpose and even more so on the character. That's right out of Aristotle. That makes a lot of sense to me, right? So my question is, is there any reason to have that first extrinsic goal in the first place, right? So your example is, I want to be a 5-0 player. My contention is, I don't even think you need that, right? Like, I don't think you need that arbitrary line because, one, what if you're just never going to get there, right? You don't have the hand-eye coordination. You're going to top out at a 4-5 no matter how. Then are you considered a failure because you didn't reach your goal? Or maybe your high end's a 5-5. Oh, good for you. I made a 5-0. Now I can quit. I can stop. So I just wonder if it's even necessary to have that first goal in the first place.
That's a really good question. I think we really agree. And I've changed my tune on this in the last 5 to 6 years, right? Because I was taught, yes, like what's your 5-year goal? What's your 10-year goal? And on the court here, we have a lot of exactly that. I want to be a 4-5. I want to be a 5-0. I want to be, and I'm like, well, first off, those numbers are so uncontrollable. You have zero control over those. And how about instead of having that number, you have the controllable goal that I'm going to drill X amount of days, or I'm going to improve this, or I'm going to improve that. So yes, like I am absolutely being swayed into that argument, right? Into that philosophy of now but then I will say, like, it is very individual, right? Because then if I go back to my own mindset, I got let's say I got nationals coming up. Yes, I am going there. I'm going to grind. I'm going to train. I'm going to play one match. I'm going to play 1 point. I'm going to just take that. But in the back of my mind, or in the front of my mind, there's a carrot, right? And I would be lying if I'm not walking out there to take gold. But that is not a conscious thought. It's not thought when I'm there. It's really hard to articulate, right? Like, I'm going to win nationals. I know there's going to be a zillion different players. I'm entering to win gold, and then I let it go, right? And then it's about all the controllables. Then it's about, okay, we got Rick and Jose next match. What do those patterns look like, right? Every point we have, and then you can't. Then I believe to not go to that conscious goal ever again. Right. But I think it's a really great conversation that's probably going to take longer than the 3 minutes we have here, right?
So you think really, I love that. So you think have that goal, but don't be obsessed over it, right? Have that goal as here's why I want to do it, but then focus on the process, right? And not like put that on the shelf and say that's the ultimate goal, but I'm going to focus on the process, because if I do well in the process, then there's a better chance of me hitting that goal.
But then I could argue, yes. But then I can argue, hey, if your goal is let's just say your goal is a 4-5, right? Like, you'll never be a 4-6, right? Like, how about not even having a number, right? How about not having a number at all? And we just go grind, and then we look back in 6 months and just say, wow, like I'm better. I'm better at my backhand dink. I'm better at and then where you land is where you land. Like, this is a really unique sport, right? Like, we're so dictated by this stupid freaking number. People get obsessed by this number. And I think that is killing a lot of individual performance success, because they're you know what I mean? Like,
you say, so yeah, no, I agree, but I would love to bring it back to NPL. So are you saying your goal is not to win the championship for Coachella Valley?
No,
it's Rick's goal.
I know it's not to not win it, but the primary. Listen, I would be lying if, like, I'm a competitor. So if we win it, awesome. But it is not even close to my top 20 priorities. If we win it, awesome. And I know I'm going to work my butt off. I'm going to be a great partner. I'm going to try to be a great leader. I'm going to try to be a great coach. And if the dice roll and we happen to, like, win the championship, freaking awesome. But my number one priority is to be a leader to the up and comers and to be a supportive and, I got you type of mentality as possible. That's because that's a controllable. I have no control over whether we win this championship. Like, there's zero control. Yeah. But the competitors, like, yeah, I want to win the championship is different than I'm going to be focusing on winning that championship. I'm going to be focusing on hitting the bill. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
How about this league is so much more? I mean, yes, we are all big time athletes. We're all competitors. That's why we all did this originally. But there's so many benefits. I mean, friends from my teams last year. I mean, you have new partners for tournaments. You go to a city and people say, stay with us, or do you want to play this local tournament? And so being in your 50s, I'm going into empty nest stage. You have things to look forward to. You're all of a sudden making trips based on this new silly sport and friendships that you never counted on. I'm 2 years in. So beyond, do we all want to win? But there are so many advantages to this league and to pickleball that are far greater than if I have a winning record or not. So, because we're winning by being in this. So there's just so many, there's so many layers to this pickleball.
We've been talking to Dayne for almost a long time, almost an hour, but we could be talking for another couple of hours, Dayne. But I just want to wrap it up with you. Thank you for your time, by the way. I want to wrap it up. We're coming to Columbus in a couple of weeks. and another 4 grinding matches, and you're going to be on center court, I'm sure, again in one of those matches. Do you have a goal for the next weekend, like to go 4-0? I know you're saying no, that's not it, right?
But
what is
Have you not been listening, Michael? You read the book. Why are you not listening? I just went on and on. Goodness. How can you not listen?
You didn't say. I said I know that would be my goal and Rick's goal. That's probably not Dayne's goal and Coachella Valley's goal, although it might be Kim's goal. But what is your goal? Is it just the team get better, that you guys play more competitive, that the team is gelling more? Like, what is your goal? Because I know, Jen, you don't care about winning at all. Dave, you don't care about winning, but me and Rick do care about winning. But Dave, what is your kind of plan for focus for the Coachella Valley for the next weekend?
So let's make this really clear. I care about winning. Are you out of your mind?
Thank you.
But
Thank
I
you.
But I compartmentalize it, and I throw the uncontrollable stuff. The winning is not in my control. It doesn't mean I don't want to win. Of course, I'm more competitive than, like, stop it. Like, Rick, stop it. Like, I want to win, but I've learned the hard way that if I make that my goal, I'm never going to play the best that I can play, because I'm focusing on something that's not in my control. So yes, I want to win. Let's just put that over there. Now, my controllable goals are, number one, and in this order, I want to be the best coach possible, and I want to help the players in line 2 and 3 and want everybody, really, like become better, whatever that means. Like, that's my number one focus, is help everybody to the best of my ability, learn a little bit more. And then I want to learn off of them too, because a couple of our players said, hey, I noticed you want to, and I want to be the recipient of that as well. In that order. Number 2, I just want to compete my face off. I'm going to go, I don't even know the players that we're going to be playing at line 1. I haven't gone that far yet. But I'm going to go out on the court with whoever I play with, and my goal is to compete my face off. The end. That's it, because I have control over that.
No, that's great.
Yep.
So you want to help everyone. So when you're playing against the Kansas City Stingers, which me and David are on, come over during timeout and give me a couple tips too, because
I will help you. I will help you.
Thank you. You heard it here, right?
You should help Michael, because he obviously didn't even make it to chapter 2. We expect what you can't control. That's only in chapter 2. What do you mean you read part of it? That's chapter 2. You didn't even make it to chapter 2.
I read it about being a great partner in chapter 5.
Oh, hi, Joe.
So we're going to say hi to Jill. We're saying hi to Jill. That's Jill Martin. How you doing?
There's Dayne's blind spot. It's Jill Martin.
That's right.
That's my blind spot.
That's right.
What's your Venmo?
But let me just finish. People want to watch that match on center court. So let me tell you how you can watch the match. You go to nplpickleball.com, onto our YouTube, click on YouTube. Okay, go to the Saturday afternoon match in Chicago, around 4 hours and 45 minutes. It starts. Watch that match. If you want to learn how to play the game with a mental pickleball mindset and Dayne walk the walk, watch that match and how he comes back. That is not a match you want to miss. So please go and watch that if you haven't watched it yet. It's an amazing match.
And Jill, he gave you credit for coaching.
Yeah.
She won the match. She won the match for it.
And Jill Martin, thank you for being on it. Everyone needs a coach. Jill, thank you so much for helping Dayne. And Dayne, thank you so much, 1, for coming on the podcast, 2, for just being a great coach, and 3, for making an NPL even bigger than it is today. So we really appreciate you, and we'll see you in Columbus, Dayne.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
See you, Dayne. See you, Jill.
Thanks, Dayne. Thanks, Jill.
Great. It's
And while
exciting.
we're saying thank you, thank you to Gamma, thank you to Incrediware, thank you to Gearbox, thank you to all of our sponsors who make this possible.
Yeah, 100%. And we'd love to have more sponsors too as we come up in the next few weeks. So, but without it, next week we'll have another one on the catch up about Columbus, because I think Columbus is going to have a great location. They're ready for us there in Columbus, and they're going to have bleachers for center court. Believe it or not.
And we still don't play Kansas City again, and we have to wait till week 3. Darn it!
I'll see you next week. 2 weeks, Jen. Let's go.
Hey, do we play Indy? Yeah. Okay.
I think so.
Hey, Rick, there's going to be bleachers. So get your A game going, because we're going to put up bleachers for center court. I think there's going to be a lot of people that want to watch you, that want to watch Dayne, that want to watch other top players like Jen Dawson we talked about, like Sherry Corder, like Dave Weinbach. There's a whole list of stars that people want to watch. And so we're going to have bleachers for next weekend. It's going to be an awesome place at Paddle Taps in Columbus. So We'll catch up
Grandpa
next week.
Hammer, they want to watch Grandpa Hammer too.
They might, I don't know. On court 103, like Dayne said, on court 103. I'll be on court 103, with you, Jen, playing against you, me and you. But until next time, thank you so much. Rick, Witsken, thank you for being here. David, the Professor George, you proved your name today with reading the book and asking those philosophical questions. And Jen, Bone Crusher Gallwas. This is Michael, Hammer Mike, Grandpa Hammer Mike Chen, saying thank you for being on Everything in the Kitchen Dink. Till next time. Thank you for tuning in to the official podcast of the National Pickleball League. Please stay tuned as we will be back soon with our next episode as we go inside the NPL.